Hi, I'm Andrew Zolondek, and earlier in the week, I interviewed professional hockey player Brendan Shinnimin. I asked him about some of the signature moments in his career, how his game has developed over the years, and some people he's met along the way. Hello, Brendan. Thank you so much for joining this interview today. Let's jump right into the question, shall we? How did playing in the WHL for the Tri-City Americans prepare you for professional hockey?
Yeah, I think the Western Hockey League is one of the top junior leagues in the world. It's, if not the best junior league. So being able to play in the Western League was a huge experience for me to help me transition into pro hockey. You learn your fundamentals, what it means to play two-way hockey and become a top player. So I was pretty blessed and fortunate to be able to play with the Tri-City Americans, and for them to give me an opportunity and to play in that organization was a huge learning curve and a huge building block for me turning pro.
Would you say the Western Hockey League is most similar to the pro style of play?
I think so. You look at the guys that come out of the Western League, and it's, a lot of the top guys come from there. There's obviously guys that come from the Q, MJHL, and the OHL, but I think the overall game in the Western League really resembles the NHL in terms of skill, speed, and physicality.
You seem to be quite a feisty player for your size. You fought players such as Lance Spoma, who were much bigger than you. Would you say that you always had the toughness in your game, or did it develop over time?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a competitive person, a competitive player, right from when I was a kid. So when I came into junior hockey, I had to find a way to prove myself right away, especially as a rookie. I was playing on the third and fourth line and tried to do anything I could to stay in the lineup. So, if it meant fighting and bringing energy to my team, that's what I did. I think I had like 8 or 9 fights in my rookie season. So I don't really want to fight, or I'm not really a fighter, but it's definitely, as competitive as I am, it definitely comes out in me, and if it has to be done, then it has to be done. But yeah, I mean, I've always been a feisty player, and that's what's driven me to become a professional hockey player.
How would you explain your rivalry that you had with Montreal Canadiens forward Brendan Gallagher?
Yeah, me and him were pretty big nemesis back in junior. Obviously we were both small, fast, skilled players, and I think he got the edge on me on that one. He's playing in the NHL right now, so. But no, he's a great player, just like me. He was feisty, competitive, always wanted to win and do whatever he could for his team. I'd give him a chance to win. I think we had a couple fights against each other too as well in junior. So anytime we played the Vancouver Giants, we were going after each other. So it was a really fun rivalry.
What NHL players did you look up to when growing up?
Stevie Yzerman was one of my favorite players growing up. He was a small player as well, and skilled, could shoot the puck, had speed, and I wore 19 a lot of my youth career after him, and as I got older, I really liked enjoying watching Crosby and Ovechkin. Just seeing the transition from the old style of play to the new style of play with those two players, and how much faster and stronger those guys were compared to guys back in the 80s and 90s. It was pretty fun to watch those two players, so I tried to learn a lot of things from them and try to implement some of their styles into my game.
What was your reaction to signing your first NHL contract and knowing that you were that much closer to living out every young Canadian kid's dream?
Yeah, absolutely. As a young boy growing up in Canada, my dream was to play hockey in the NHL, and every night watching Hockey Night in Canada and seeing all your favorite players play, you always want to be like them. And to get an opportunity to sign an NHL contract was a dream come true. It was pretty surreal, and I'll never forget that moment. Calling my parents and after it was done, and that was just the first step of getting to the NHL. But to know that a team believed in you and was going to give you a chance, at least to play in the NHL, was a pretty special feeling.
Everyone talks about the huge transition between junior hockey and AHL hockey. For you, what was it like? Was it as a significant transition as people say? And if so, how long did it take for you to really settle into your game?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you jump up a level, I think it's a pretty big jump. Coming out of junior, I was always the top player and the best player, but then when you go into pro, the NHL or American League, that's just all the best players from the league combined into one league. So now you're on an even playing field as a lot of the rest of the players. So yeah, it was definitely a learning curve. You know, it's definitely a jump. I had to change different parts of my game to have success, and things that I got away with in junior, I definitely couldn't get away with at the pro level. So it was you know, good learning curve, and I learned a lot playing pro hockey, especially my first couple of years. So I would say probably a year and a half before I settled in and you know, learned the ropes of pro hockey and what it takes to be a top player in the American League and what it takes to get to the NHL.
How was it playing in the city of Portland? And did having some fellow Manitoban players there, such as Michael Stone and Jordan Martinook, help you with the transition to a new city?
Yeah, I mean, as a hockey player, you make friends pretty quick, but yeah, like you said, having guys that, you know, I grew up playing against Michael Stone, so to have familiar faces always makes it easier. Even though Martinook was born here, he never lived here. I think he grew up Leduc or in Edmonton, but we actually became pretty close friends and became roommates. So you know, I still keep in touch with those guys and watch them. A little jealous sometimes watching them play in the NHL, but really proud of those guys. And like you said, yeah, it definitely helps when you have some familiar faces to make that transition.
In the few years you were with the Pirates, what moments really stick out for you, whether it be a few huge team wins or just some good times with teammates?
Yeah, I mean, you always build memories and relationships. I think that's one of the biggest things was I got to meet a lot of people from all over the world, hockey players, and just learn different things from them. You know, we had some good teams and some bad teams, and along the way, it was, you know, we had a couple playoff runs that were really fun to be a part of. Just seeing your friends get called up and sent down, and you just see the emotions and how bad everyone wants to play in the NHL, and you know, how competitive it is. And I would definitely if I could take away something from the American League, and it was just, you know, the friendships and seeing how committed guys are to wanting to be a professional hockey player, and everyone's just trying to get better and better every day.
Your first NHL game was against the star-studded Calgary Flames with players like Johnny Gaudreau, Mark Giordano, and Sean Monahan. So from warm-up to puck drop to your first shift, what was it like to live out every young Canadian's dream and play an NHL game?
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget, you know, getting that call. I was laying in bed in Portland, and coach called me and telling me I was going to jump on a flight in the morning, and you know, it was just a really surreal moment. And then kind of the whole next day, you're just full of excitement, and you don't really have time to think. It's just kind of everything. You're just taking everything in, trying to learn as much as possible. But yeah, just right from warm-ups or just going to the rink to warm-ups, you know, like I said, just enjoying the moment, having fun. It was pretty, like you said, pretty cool to play against, you know, Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan, and you know, a lot of these top players in the NHL, and just watching how they play, it's pretty special. Got to play against some other really special players as well, and just, you know, see how they play the game, and I always try to learn things from them as you play against them. So yeah, it was a pretty amazing feeling to be able to live my dream as a young boy to play in the NHL.
How amazing was it to have Shane Doan as your captain?
Yeah, I mean, he's just an all-class, first-class person, player. He was just an amazing captain. I'm sure you could talk to anyone who's ever played with him. He puts his teammates first and does anything he can to help the team win. Super competitive guy, you know, wants to win every game, and he wants to help everyone else too. So for me, even coming up and getting called up and playing games with the Coyotes, and he was always a guy that, you know, if I ever had a question or needed help, he was always there to help me. And sometimes it's a little intimidating when you're a young guy and talking to, you know, a star like Shane Doan, but he was welcoming and did whatever he could to help, which was really nice.
Was Keith Yandel as hilarious as everybody says he is?
Yeah, I would say that and a bit more.
The crew here as a whole, I see there's a bucket on the bench here. You guys feeling okay wearing a diaper right now?
Yeah, it depends. We got everybody's wearing them for tonight because Stan wasn't happy with the Gits last game, but no, everyone's feeling better tonight.
He's every day was just a ton of laughs with that guy. He was always trying to make light of situations, and yeah, like you said, he's just always making guys laugh, having fun, and it was pretty fun to be able to be on a team with him and just, you know, build a bit of a relationship with him. So that was pretty neat.
What was it like seeing Oliver Ekman-Larsson's immense talent from a teammate's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool when you get to see, you know, an all-star hockey player come as a young guy and watch him grow and just see how amazing those guys can be. You know, he played. It was my first year in pro was a lockout. We were both in the American League together, and we were both the same age. And I met him a few years earlier. So, you know, to be able to, you know, build a friendship with him and just watch how amazing he was with the puck and his skills was pretty neat. And then obviously he's an all-star defenseman now in the NHL, and yeah, so you don't always get a chance to play with those type of players, and I'm pretty fortunate I got to.
Out of all the opposing NHL stars you played against, whether it be Kessel, Carey Price, Pavel Datsyuk, Joe Thornton, which one was really the coolest to you to play against?
I think maybe Pavel Datsyuk. We played Detroit at home, and him and Zetterberg are pretty incredible. Just watching Datsyuk and how he's just a two-way forward and does everything right. How he handles the puck, sees the ice, makes plays. You know, I always try, you know, my later years I tried to kind of amplify or use his game as an example for me. So to play against him and just see how smooth he is and elusive, and yeah, it's just it was pretty incredible.
Seeing your first NHL point come off the stick of former Portland teammate Lucas Lesio must have been a really cool, surreal moment. What do you remember about that moment and what it meant to you?
Yeah, me and Lucas were really good friends in Portland. We hung out all the time outside the rink. We were roommates, and he was called up I think a month before I was, and then when I got called up, and when we were both called up at the same time, we played on the same line, and it was we had a ton of fun together. We played together in the American League and had some chemistry, but yeah, like you said, to get my first NHL point and have it be him who scored was, you know, I was so excited for him, and in that moment we just had so much excitement. You can see it in the rest of the team how pumped up they were for us too. So yeah, to see him get the goal and me get my first point, that was a pretty special moment.
How has your experiences in Europe helped grow your game?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's a bit different game over in Europe, the bigger ice. I think it's a lot faster game, less physical. Really makes you use your skills a lot more. So, you know, I've got to work on that. I've got to work on my skills, my skating, you know, different things like that I didn't maybe get as much of an opportunity to do over in North America. So I think my overall game has come a long way from playing a few years over in Europe, and I'm going to continue to play there. So hopefully I can learn a lot more and become that much better of a hockey player.
What are your plans for next season, and what are your goals for your hockey career?
I just signed a 2-year deal with the Beckwell Lakers, the team I've been with for the last 2 years. So I'm going to go back there and try to win another championship. I won with them my first year over there. Unfortunately, we didn't make it as far this past year, but we've got high hopes for the upcoming season. Try and win another championship, and yeah, personally, just continue to grow my game and see where it takes me. I mean, if I ever get the chance to come back and play in the NHL, that'd be pretty amazing. So just continue to get better every day as a player, and you never know. We'll see what can happen.
That question concludes this interview with Brendan Shinnimin. Thanks again, Brendan, so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Be sure to follow Brendan on Twitter at ShinboSlice. And follow us on Twitter at LRSD_TV and on Instagram and Facebook at LRSDTV. Thanks for watching.